Hello, my name is Pra Paramaitisaro. I'm a Theravada Buddhist monk, but it doesn't mean that I was a monk ever since the first day that I was born to the world. Before that, I was like every one of you watching this video. So, I studied computer. I was a computer geek. I really like computer, hardware, software. I really learned how to do programming. I studied computer for 10 years in my bachelor, master, and PhD. But one thing that I realized is, even though many people know about many different knowledge in their life, but they don't know about what is considered the software of human being, the mind. And I realized how important the mind was when I doing my PhD in Norway. At that time, I was a little bit stressed. And I feel like I could not think about many things. I could not do my dissertation. I was sitting in front of computer, Googling, and cannot think about many different things for days, for months. So I decided to do something with my own software, the mind. I didn't know how to meditate, so I tried to learn meditation for the first time. When I meditated for the first time, I thought it was impossible because I had so many different thoughts in my mind, and my mind was spinning like crazy. At that moment, I learned that in order to meditate, you just need to find a balance, and that's how I unlocked the meditation for the first time. I could really make I feel really relaxed. I feel really happy. So when I finished my PhD study, I decided to study a bit more about meditation. I ordained as a Buddhist monk. And it's not very easy because monk life is not very easy as I thought. I struggle a lot, but also enjoy the time that I have for myself. And ever since I travel to different places and share with people, and people suffer the same way that I did. They could not meditate when they close their eyes, so I gave them some tips and I told them that you just have to relax a bit more, and they could meditate. And I've been traveling to different countries. In total, 52 countries so far in 10 years to share about meditation, about how they could meditate in an easy way, how they could remove stress from the mind and be a bit more happier. And many people can do that when they close their eyes. Every time when I see they open their eyes, I could see big smile on their faces, and that made me feel happy. And maybe that's the reasons I continue being a monk who I am today. So if many people around the world in different countries, different religions, different nationality can meditate, maybe you can do it too. So why don't you follow my program and we learn together, and I share with you how meditation can be very easy. You just need to learn some tips and you can unlock the myth of the mind. So you change your mind, you change your whole world. Let's stay together. Hello, welcome to my stories, and I'm Monk John. Today I'm going to be your host. We're going to talk about the topic that are very close to us these days. It is about natural disasters, and can we really do something in order to stop that? So if you arrive already, you can share me where you're from. You can tell me about your name, your country, and also if you have any questions, you can also ask in the comments, and our staff will bring the questions to me. If you can hear my voice properly, you can also type +1 so that I can, our staff or team can know that there is no problem with the audio connection. And if you feel like this topic is going to be useful for your friends, for people that you care about, you can share this video to your profile or maybe to the people that you care about as well. We're going to wait a little bit for people to arrive, and then we begin the talk later on. And the topic is very straightforward because these days in 2018, there are a lot going on at the moment, and ever since January we have different things going on, especially things that are related to natural disasters are the most difficult things to prevent because you don't really know what is going to happen. And when things are happening, there's no place to hide, there's no place to go. And also, no one knows. In order to cope with the pain, in order to cope with the suffering, what do we need to do for that difficult moment? We're going to talk about that. Today, it might be a bit different from the other talk that I have given because this talk I make references to some Buddhist scriptures that we call sutra. Because I'm not going to say this based on my opinion, but I make a reference to the talk and also the words of the Buddha that he gave 2,500, 600 years ago. So again, if you just arrived, you can tell me where you're from. I'm going to check the comments at the moment. And also, if you feel that this video can be useful for your friends, for people that you care about, please share the video with them so that they can have a chance to watch this live as well. Okay, so we got, as usual, our fans, Susan and Bruno from Benin, bonjour. We just met in Côte d'Ivoire, and that was just a few days ago. Okay, and then we have Agnia from Latvia, and also I think the rest are joining as well. So I think we all been lucky because all those things that have happening until now, we managed to stay alive, we managed to stay happy without any pain or suffering, I guess. The topics that I'm bringing up today, even though it might be something that someone would care about or someone do not care about, I don't mean to bring you some sadness or to worry you or to make your mind in trouble. But what I'm trying to say is that if we got ourselves prepared, or at least if we know why that will be happening, we could stay away from it. We can stay away from natural disasters, or we can do something in order to ease the pain. At the end of this talk, I'm going to guide you short meditation and also do the loving kindness meditation for the loss of people around the world as well. All right. So if you just arrived, again, tell me your name, where you are from, and also if you can hear the voice properly, you can type +1 so that we know if the voice can be heard properly. Okay, so we're going to begin the topic at the moment. Let's come back to the title of the topic. It's about the natural disaster and the most powerful tools in order to stop the natural disasters. Well, we talk about stopping, right? As I mentioned earlier, that natural disasters is very hard to predict, very hard to prevent. You never heard about the super typhoon Mangkhut that is currently attacking the coast of Hong Kong and now moving to China at the very moment. You never heard about this a few months ago. This is something that you just heard about. So we cannot be warned, even though there are like different technologies that we invented in order to predict and to forecast how the weather would change so that we are ready to face those obstacles. But none of them is not very easy, even though we have faster computer, different computational model. So this year, particularly this year, has been difficult for many people, I guess. After the natural disaster has struck, then there will be time in order to recover from it. So we've seen many countries, we see in many places, people lost their home, people have to live in shelter, people lack food, electricity, and also their life depends on just the hope that everything will be over very soon. And one thing that I found on the internet is that it's not about only this year, but since last year, 2017, there is a news, like an article says that in 2017, it has been the hottest year ever since maybe like for many hundred or even 1,000 years, since they claim that it was the hottest, the most miserable years ever. There were fighting, conflicts, natural disaster, economic crisis. And if you are like a fan of news channels like CNN, BBC, or all those news, Al Jazeera, you might watch all the news about things happening around the world, and sometimes that even trouble the mind, right? Because you see a lot of people crying, a lot of people losing their home, a lot of people suffering. In 2018, it's not different at all. We learned about natural disasters like Typhoon Mangkhut and also the Hurricane Florence that is currently attacking the east coast of United States of America, right? And also earlier there were wildfire in California, and even in Asia. In Asia we have in Japan, landslide and flooding. So all these things you have seen in the news. And well, in Buddhism, for example, one thing that the Buddha taught us is this is a part of the world, it's a part of the nature. So many people already make up their mind and they said, let's let it go, let's accept it. So is this the only thing that Buddha taught about, or are there any others? All right. So if you just arrive again, you can tell me your name, your country, where you're from. And also if you can hear my voice properly, you can type +1 so that I know that there is nothing to adjust and our technical team got impressed. Okay, so let me see. We have Franklin from Ivory Coast. We have Jules from Germany, and also Susan from Tanzania. And I think the rest are joining us as well. There is a picture that I'd like to show you at the moment. When I saw this picture for the first time, it kind of freaked me out because I've never seen such picture before. It's a picture of 10 typhoons. Or you can call it tornadoes or hurricanes in different places. A reporter mentioned that he has never seen so many typhoons, so many hurricanes or depression or tornadoes happening at the same time. There were 10 of them currently happening. So I think his name is Heller from ABC News. He said that throughout his 35 years of reporting career, very reporting, so he has never seen even once that there were more than a few tornadoes, hurricanes happening at the same time. But now, as you can see from the picture, there are 10 of them. Actually, the picture shows only 8, but he claimed that there was 10. So I'm not sure about the missing 2 from the picture. Okay, especially the 2 biggest ones that's happening at the moment. If you are from astronauts watching from the space, this could be something that you see every day. But people who live on Earth, this is something very rare and something that is impacting their life and their living. So what do we learn about this? Okay, the first thing that I would like to mention is that there is a kind of prophecy. It's not more like prediction, okay, that someone discovered from an ancient stone in India and claimed that it was words of Buddha. The Buddha shared many years ago, okay, he talked about the middle of Buddhist era. Okay, maybe I have to explain a little bit further that the word Buddhist era means 5,000 years after he passed away. So he passed away about 2,600 years ago, and now it is the year 2561 in Thailand. Okay, so it means that we are kind of in the middle. So according to this prediction or his words, we are kind of in the middle of the Buddhist era. So this era is going to last 2,400 years more until it's going to finish. And after it finished, the Buddha said that there is no wisdoms, no teaching, nothing left about Buddhism, about Buddhist philosophy at all. So what if we live in the middle of the Buddhist era? Why should we care about that? Okay, actually there are words that he mentioned that in the middle of Buddhist era, wrong is going to be right, right is going to be wrong, and people might not behave properly. They might actually break all the disciplines and they hurt each other. There are a lot of conflicts going on. Actually, the words are very, very long. Many paragraphs, many explanations, but I just put three most important words today, okay? The first one is when the right is wrong and wrong is right. And those who are righteous are not well respected. I think we've seen a lot of people around the world that behave very nicely, that behave properly, but they do not earn respect or honor compared to those who do not behave properly, those who hurt each other. They become more famous, they have more power, and this is happening in many places, many countries, right? That's why many people are complaining these days that why those people who are not behaving righteously are gaining more power, and those who do everything properly have less recognition. So that leads to the second or the next sentence. The next sentence says that natural disasters will happen more often, and only those who are righteous will survive. Only those who are righteous become unharmed. So, well, to tell you the truth, I heard about this kind of prediction many years ago. Many years ago, when I was very young, I think about 10 years or more. When I look at this one, I didn't pay any attention because I could not imagine, this is something related to limitation of our understanding. We never get to understand something 5 years later or maybe 10 years later. We can't actually see the future. We do not understand how the future will lead us to. And even our past, we have limited ability to understand what happened in the past either, because we forget. And what if this is the past that happened long before you were born? There is one saying that anything happened earlier than 100 years, we human beings do not understand. Everything that will happen 100 years later, we do not understand either. So when I was young and I read this prediction, I just say, okay, but our life is pretty peaceful. There was no natural disaster. We have some rains, we have some flooding, so what? If the natural disaster is going to happen in the middle of the Buddhist era, it's going to be this little, no one cares. So that was what I had in the mind. No one really cared until this year. When we started to see from last year in 2017, which is the most difficult, the most miserable year ever recorded in human history, according to the article from CNN, okay, I showed you earlier, that this is the most miserable year claimed by many news stations of maybe recent years that has happened. This is last year's the worst one. So this year, we just in September, we are not even December, but things are getting a little bit more severe. That brings me back to this prediction once again. Wow, so natural disasters are going to happen more often. Is this going to be just like this? Is this going to be the end? Or do we have something even more severe, something even worse? Apart from this prediction, I read recently as well from internet that there is a red calf was born in Israel. You know, I'm a Buddhist, so I don't really know about Christian prophecy in Christianity, but according to some article that I read, it says that first red heifer born in Israel for 2,000 years triggers Armageddon fears. The birth of a red calf in Israel points to a biblical prophecy that may not be good news for any of us. But some people try to explain that even though red calf that was born in Israel might be related to a new beginning, a new construction, a new temple of belief. So this is something that come to my mind. I'm not telling you to believe, or I'm not like a big fan of those Armageddon thing, even though I really like the movie when I watched it, like almost the year 2000 or something like that. But that's almost 20 years ago, before I become a monk, of course. Well, I'm not really a big fan of that. So what comes to my mind is, if this is going to be more severe, is there anything that we can do to lessen the suffering, to lessen the pain, or maybe to put all this thing away? And I did some research. And in this research, I found very interesting texts, okay? So I just like to know about your opinion. If you have any opinion about what I share with you so far, please don't hesitate sharing on the comments, okay? So I'm going to read from the comments. Okay, we have Elise, I'm not sure where you're from. We have Sunshine from Singapore, welcome. We have Elise, from Malaysia, she's from Malaysia. Okay, and Domingo from Spain, and Derek from Florida. That's nice. Okay. So, what I read from the text is this one is from another sutra, okay? And in this sutra it says that when the ruler of maybe a land or a country, when a ruler of a country is unrighteous, ministers and officials is going to become unrighteous as well. Does it make any sense to you? Okay, ruler can be maybe a king or president or prime minister that run a country. So when a ruler is unrighteous, then people who work around him or her, they are going to become unrighteous as well. I think this can be a bit logical because, okay, consider that a leader influenced the team a lot. So a leader of a cabinet would influence how people in the cabinet work, right? So if the leader of a place or a country, even this can be even as small as a village or in your company, if he or she is not righteous, then people who work around him, they're not going to become righteous as well. So if those people in the cabinet, ministers, officials of a country, they are not righteous, they are unrighteous, then scholars or like entrepreneurs, they are not going to become righteous as well. So this is more like chain reaction. People keep looking at each other. People keep looking, hey, if our leader can behave like this, maybe we can do it as well. If the leader is very disciplined, very strict, and very polite, very kind, then people will respect him or her. And eventually they behave accordingly. They're going to form maybe a peaceful cabinet, peaceful government, who knows. But if the leader behaves not righteously, right, then people who work around him, ministers, officials, and then scholars and entrepreneurs, business people, they're not going to work righteously as well. Think about some situations where those who work in the government, they require some bribe maybe. Then those business people, okay, this is a protocol, or there's no protocol, so we can bribe him or her or something like that. So eventually, no one is going to become righteous because this is going to affect citizens as well. So citizens sees the examples. If those people do not behave righteously, maybe I don't have to. Maybe I don't have to respect the law because those people do not respect the law. Or if those people that should behave properly because they are role models, right? If they do not follow the laws, maybe they issue new laws that give more benefits to themselves, then eventually no one will respect the law. So citizens who behave unrighteously, okay, this is going to as well influence the orbits of the sun and the moon. Well, this may actually bring you a question. How is it going to be related? I will explain to you later on. Okay, so let me finish this sutra. If citizens means a lot of people, right? Well, if only one or two persons do not behave righteously, then this is not going to affect the orbits of the sun and the moon. But what if a lot of people do not behave righteously? Are they going to, influence something so massive like the sun and the moon, something that is not on earth? Well, there is no proof that this will be true because we have the limitation of science on how we're going to prove this. However, if you heard about the butterfly effects, something so small, they say that the butterflies can give the effect even to the stars. This might be something we've been talking about, okay? So the power of behaviors of people, if they behave righteously, might affect the orbits of the sun and the moon in a positive way. But what if those people do not behave righteously? Maybe they are going to influence the orbits of the sun and the moon in a negative way. Who knows, right? So, okay, let's assume that this might be possible. Okay, let's assume that this might be possible. Actually, there is a documentation from Will Smith. He talks about how the world is really interconnected, or the world maintained an amount of oxygen level for millions or even 100 millions of years. And this amount of percentage, I don't remember exact number, okay? This amount of percentage has never increased or decreased at all in the last hundreds of years. So every time there is like a possibility of events or incidents that will reduce the amount of oxygen percentage in different places, something will happen across the globe in order to cover up, in order to make everything balanced, and that come back to the same amount, the same percentage once again. So what if we are doing something that influences the balance of the universe? Maybe the universe will also adapt and adjust itself so the balance can be maintained, right? And let's assume that this statement can be possible. Let's assume that how we citizens of a place or even the citizens of the world behave will influence the orbits of the sun and the moon. The orbits of the sun and the moon will likely to also influence the other stars, the other planets, right? Because if there is even a small shift of degrees of the orbits, everything will be affected. Okay? The position of the Earth when it orbits the sun, it cannot be closer, it cannot be further. It has to be exactly on that position. What if this is slightly different? Is it going to introduce anything happening on Earth? Okay, I'm not a scientist, I'm a monk. So I'm just present what is written in the scripture. The orbits of the sun and the moon influence the orbits of stars and planets. And when the orbits of stars and planets are not inconsistent, that is going to influence turns of days and nights, right? Because how our Earth spins around itself introduce the days and the nights. So if the orbits or how it spins change a little, the turns of days and night will become different as well. And if the turns and days and nights are different this time, this will also lead to how the turns of months also be changed. And if the turns of months will be changed, then the turns of seasons and years will also be changed. Okay? All right, so if you have any questions, please share with me. All right. Okay, we have Claire from Doha, Qatar, and Alex. I don't know where you're from. Okay, so let me continue. When turns of seasons and years change irregularly, this will also lead to how the wind blows irregularly. Okay, so we come across this word, and this is the exact word that I found in the scripture, in the sutra. The wind blow irregularly. Let's go back to the picture of those tornadoes, hurricanes. Once again, let's take a look. The picture of, yes, tornadoes and hurricanes. You see, we have come to the later consequences happening from the beginning when our behavior are not proper. Then, okay, the ruler of a land or place, the cabinets, and also officials, and also scholars, and also citizens. When people do not behave properly, somehow their behavior affects, influence the change of the orbits of the sun, the moon, planets, stars. And that influences the turn of the nights and also months, seasons, and years. And when the seasons and years are improper, are inconsistent, this will influence the wind blow. The wind does not blow properly. The winds start changing the way it blows. Wow, so when I discovered this recently, I was thrilled because somehow the Buddha, like 2,600 years ago, he explained clearly how humans' mind, especially when it influences their behaviors, and that behaviors totally influence the nature, influence the environment, influence the world, and this even influence the wind blow. And you can look at how extreme the wind is blowing in different part of the world. Isn't it something that is caused by us? Is this the result of our actions? Well, from the scripture, from the sutra, these may be consequences of our actions, of humanity as a whole, who've been, influencing the nature until the wind does not blow consistently. When the wind blows inconsistently, that will lead to different rainfall. And when the rainfall is not consistent, then harvesting agricultural products are not going to be very, very good. We don't actually get quality harvesting. We don't actually get quality fruits or rice or vegetable. We will have more problems with agricultural products. Okay, so that eventually leads to the problems of our health, right? Again, if the wind does not blow consistently, that will lead to inconsistent rainfall. And if the rainfall do not consistent, eventually we have problems with agricultural products, and the agricultural products are not going to be quality one, right? So if we do not have quality agricultural products, what are we going to end up with? Our health. We are not going to have good longevity. We are not going to have good complexions of skin. We're not going to have our body strength, and we are not going to have healthy body. We might have more sickness. Okay, so when agricultural products become unhealthy, the word unhealthy in this sense means it's not as of good quality. It means that our body's health, people are going to be sick more than before. I didn't actually check some statistics of how much our health, and especially going to hospital record, has changed over the last years. But if you consider these four facts, okay, longevity, complexion, strength or power, and also sickness, I think we got worse in all categories. So whenever the agricultural products are unhealthy, then it's not very easy to maintain a healthy lifestyle, because the food is full of chemical toxins, right? So this scripture also has a reverse version. It says that if the ruler behaves righteously, then the cabinets, like ministers, officials, they are going to behave righteously as well. And if the cabinets behave righteously, then scholars and entrepreneurs, they are going to become righteous. And when the scholars, entrepreneurs become righteous, then larger scale citizens become righteous. And when the citizens become righteous, the orbits of the sun and the moon become consistent. And if the orbits of the sun and the moon become consistent, then the orbit of planets and stars also become consistent. And if the orbits of stars become consistent, then the turns of days and night become consistent. And if the turns of days and nights become consistent, then we have consistent months, seasons, and years. And then we have the wind blowing properly. And the food become healthy, and human become healthier as well. Okay, I promised you earlier that I'm going to talk about how human's mind actually influence the environment. So what I'd like to bring up at this moment is an experiment conducted by Japanese researcher. His name is Dr. Masaru Emoto. The research is called Messages from Water. So this Japanese professor, he actually did an experiment with water. He brought water from different sources and he froze the water. He took water crystals and then he compared water crystals from different places. And of course, water from different places give different crystals. Then he was trying to see if our mind influence the look and appearances of water crystals some way or another. And somehow he discovered that when he directs his attention very strongly on something, especially he was writing on a piece of paper, thinking about the water, in front of the water, and then he posed the paper on the water bottle. And after a while, he discovered that when he was writing positive words, the pictures of water crystals were nice. But when he was writing with negative words, the pictures of water crystal become ugly. So as a result, even though this experiment is debatable, some people may not agree, but at least there are some experiments trying to show how humans might also influence the nature. Okay, what do you think about this? What do you think? Have you read about these researchers before? Messages on Water. Have you read about it? Have you heard about it? Or do you agree or do you not agree? You can share with me in the comments, okay? All right, so we have more viewers. Alex from the States, Anna Matthews from the UK. Thank you for joining. This is a talk about the most powerful tools to stop natural disasters. And I brought up some news saying that 2017 was the most miserable year ever. And we have something even worse since 2018. I'm not sure that next year, or maybe I would say, I'm pretty sure next year in 2019, there will be another headline from CNN, from different news stations saying that 2018 is even worse than 2017. Then I share with you about, like reporters, weather reporters who've been working for 35 years. He mentioned that in his career, he never seen even once 10 tornadoes, 10 depression or typhoons happening at the same time. And actually, when I saw this news, what came to my mind was a prediction that I read many years ago when I was young. And that prediction said that in the middle of Buddhist era. Okay, that prediction was made by the Buddha himself. And he mentioned that in the middle, it means around year 2600 or 2500 something, around this time period. And if you know how to count the Buddhist era, we are in the year 2561 in Thailand. He said that his teachings are going to be available, going to exist in the world until the year 5000. So somehow from basic calculation, we are roughly in the middle. And I share with you that in the middle, there were stories that right is going to become wrong and wrong is going to become right. Those who behave righteously are not well respected. And those who do not behave righteously will earn respect, will earn power, maybe will rule a country. And I present another story. It comes from a sutra. It's called Dhammika Sutra. And in this sutra, it says that when the ruler of the land does not behave properly, then ministers and officials, they do not behave properly as well. And this is going to create chain reaction until all the citizens started to behave improperly. And when all the citizens, many of them, I would not say just 1 or 2%, a lot, maybe more than 80%, maybe more than 70%. There is no percentage and an exact percentage for this. But when a large amount of people do not behave properly, and you can see in many places, like people start shooting each other, even though they don't have any grudge, they don't have any hatred among each other, they just do the violence. And when this happens, the orbits of the sun and the moon and eventually stars, and turns of days and night, seasons, year, rainfalls, wind blows. The wind does not blow properly, and that leads to the picture of hurricanes and all the stuff that I shared with you earlier. Well, this is another picture, okay, I have to say, this is another picture. What I'm showing you at the moment is a picture of what we call the mind. In Buddhist philosophy, or even in the Buddhist practice, the Buddha said that your mind, okay, if he would be alive and say this at the moment, I'm pretty sure he's going to use the word viruses. Your mind has viruses. But he even gave categories of viruses. The first one is called craving. The second one is called anger. And the last one is called ignorance or delusion. So these kind of viruses somehow influence a lot on our beliefs, on our thoughts and everything. Okay, and there is one text that I found as well in the sutra, in the scripture. It says that somehow these three viruses influence the environment in different ways. The first one, desire or craving. In this sense, it's more like a lot of people become lustful. Maybe they indulge so much in like sexual desire, they were doing sexual misconduct, and they do not respect their spouse, they do not love their husband and wife from their heart, and they tend to pay more attention in sexual intercourse more than anything else. So this is not only craving, it has to be pretty strong, it has to be more like feeling lustful. That will be related to what we call water disaster. Okay, so we have fire, we have water, and we have wind. So somehow the viruses, when people feel lustful, their mind is controlled by that desire virus. And the desire virus if okay, let's assume that what we've been saying is valid, that humans might affect the environment. Human mind can even influence something very big like the universe, or even our own galaxy somehow. Okay, let's not talk about the observable universe as something very huge, but our own galaxy. We talked earlier, the Buddha mentioned 2,600 years ago about how our mind can influence the orbit of the sun and the moon. Okay, somehow the virus called desire could potentially bring calamity about flooding, you know. So I'm not saying that people who suffer flooding at the moment, they are lustful people. No, I'm sorry if I made you feel that way. Well, let's come back to the basic of the word karma. Okay, the word karma simply means actions. An action will give consequences, but consequences is like we plant a seed in the ground. Consequences do not happen immediately. It takes time. If you plant an apple seed, the time since you plant the seed until you eat the fruits, that will be for few years. Okay, so usually the time that it takes for consequences to grow and to become fruits that you will harvest, that you will eat, especially if this is good karma, then you get good fruits, it will take years. Everything requires time. Even the picture of the sun that you see, the picture that you see, the picture that really happened 8 minutes ago. Sometimes when we look at the skies, the picture of stars that we see, there are pictures of the stars from centuries ago, from even 100,000 years ago, even 1 million years ago, even few light years, 100,000s of light years ago, million of light years ago. So our life at the moment is the collection of karma that we did in the past. Okay, and this karma is very tricky. Sometimes they just give the fruits at the same moment. Okay, so somehow when a lot of people who suffer the same karma living together in one place, that's another law. It's called the law of attraction. And the power of attraction is going to be strong enough to attract different things coming to their life. All right, so we have the virus from desire. We have the virus of anger. The anger virus will lead to fire calamity. And the ignorance virus. You have a question. Okay, I think the anger is pretty clear, right? The anger is how we feel frustrated with someone, we yell at people, we beat them, we use violence. That is when the anger takes control. And the anger leads to fire calamity. Okay? Ignorance leads to wind calamity. It means that on a place where people do not respect each other, they thought wrong is right, right is wrong, they don't care about what are righteous, they don't actually practice the discipline and so on, they will face or suffer from wind. And when we use the word wind, that could be different things, right? Like tornadoes, hurricanes, depressions. The text says that somehow the wind destructions is the strongest. So I didn't understand until I saw pictures on the news. A place that suffered from hurricane, from tornadoes, nothing is left because everything was blown up to the air and destroyed. So even fire is the less and minimum severe. Fire could be put off easier. And then the water, the flooding takes everything away, kills people. And eventually the wind is the strongest calamity. Okay? If you take a look at the pictures of different events happening in the world, they usually fall into mainly three categories. Okay, we have earthquake, but you can say that earthquake is also a type of the wind. Vibration, right? So fire, water, and wind. Just mainly these three kinds of natural disaster that we encounter the most. Wow, so why I'm telling you this? You may feel like the monk is scaring you. As I said from the beginning, that I don't intend to scare you. I don't intend to make you feel afraid. I don't actually want to talk about something bad, people suffering. This is just some understanding. If we understand something, maybe we can prevent it. But it's not just you and me. Everyone has to do it together. Remember, citizens. Citizens means a lot of people. Citizens mean a large amount of people. Not only one person, not only two persons. It has to be large enough to create a strong butterfly effect to influence the orbits of the sun and the moon, maybe. Based on the understanding of the mind, that there are three kinds of viruses: desire, anger, and ignorance. The Buddha also shared how to suppress, how to make the power of these three viruses become insignificant. There are three tools, okay? So the most powerful tools are three tools. The first tool, that is called generosity. And we need to keep being generous to each other. We have to share with each other. Sharing is the opposite of desire. It's not wanting to have everything in the world to become your belongings. We start sharing what we have. If everyone keeps sharing, the desire, jealousy, cannot work in the mind. And when the jealousy do not work in the mind, of course, the mind influences our actions. Eventually, our actions will become righteous as well. So, sharing and generosity is going to make the desire virus ineffective, right? What if a lot of people practice sharing together? What if everyone keeps giving what they have, even though we are struggling? I'm not saying that, okay, we or anyone is having more than others. We human beings, we struggle to survive. But since everyone is struggling all together, especially we survive to find that unconditional happiness, right? And if everyone is still struggling to find that unconditional happiness, then we are a group of unfortunate people. But even though we are unfortunate people, we can share among each other. And when we share, the desire virus does not work, cannot control your mind. The second one, self-discipline and compassion. Self-discipline and compassion is going to suppress the power of anger virus. The anger virus that will tell you all the time, there's little voices in your head, I have to punch that person on the face. I want to yell, I want to scream, I want to take revenge. I hate that person. But if you can be compassionate, if you can forgive, if you can let go, if you can follow the self-discipline. Okay, let's look at the self-discipline we talk about. You might not understand, okay, what are these self-discipline about? There are 5 of them. The first one is no hurting or killing other beings. Okay, the second one is try to respect properties of others. So don't just grab them because you want them. The third one is respect your own family, your own partner, and respect other people's partners, their families as well. So no adulteries, no sexual misconduct. And the fourth one, being honest. Do not say lie to others. And the fifth one is to be more mindful, to maintain your mindfulness by not worsen your mindfulness from consuming intoxicants. Okay, so these 5 of them, if you can follow them, somehow our mind will be stronger, because usually the anger will whisper in our mind saying, okay, you have to yell, you have to violate that person, you have to take revenge, or you want to do the multiple timings with your wife, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, or something like that. So if you are able to win over your mind by not allowing the anger virus to take control of your mind, you should be able to at least follow the self-discipline that is mentioned here, right? Eventually, do the loving kindness. If you do the loving kindness, you should be very compassionate to others. Eventually, you can let go. And once you can let go, no anger can control your mind. Okay? All right, and the last one, the last 2 that I'm going to talk about today is mindfulness and meditation. Somehow our mind is like a glass of water, or you can compare with glasses. If you wear glasses, the glasses are dirty. You're not going to be able to see accurately what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, what you should not. So the events that we mentioned earlier, when the right become wrong and wrong become right, is not going to be happening, at least to us. If we are able to clear and clean our mind properly, very often. Of course, you have to clean the mind very often, right? Once a year is not enough. Once a month could be better. What's about every day, right? You clean your body every day. Why don't you clean your mind every day as well? It's very important to clean your mind regularly. Otherwise, you may not know that somehow the justification of positivity and negativity that you are having at the moment can be inaccurate. Because if you go randomly to the street and ask people, are you a good person? Everyone will look at you and, what? And they will say, I'm a good person, right? But somehow, you're good, my good, they're good, he's good, her good, they're not the same. It means that the chaotic situation society is facing at the moment, because we have different justification of positivity and negativity. And the worst of all, we do not know that we do not know. We don't know that our justification is inaccurate, and we refuse to accept when someone tells us, hey, you have to be better, you have to improve this, this something that you're doing is not proper. We hate to be a loser. As a result, we make a shield, we make protection, try to tell people that no, it's you, not me. Okay? And this self-betrayal is going to create a world that only you lives in the world. And when you live in your own world and you don't care about others, that is how ignorance, the last words, ignorance, will control your mind. So, in order to fight with ignorance, okay, we need to make sure that our mind is clean and pure, and also we meditate, cleaning the mind regularly. All right? So, if you have any questions, you can tell me, okay? Okay, if you have any questions, you have a chance to do that now. We have like 5 minutes, and if not, I'm going to guide you short meditation so that we together we are going to contribute at least to peace of the world, and at least for those who lost from the disastrous events that we have had so far in 2017, 18 and earlier. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes at the moment and sit comfortably. And feel relaxed in every part of your body. Breathe in and out a few times so that whenever you breathe in, your body takes positive energy. And when you breathe out, you let go of everything from the mind. Breathe in deeply, softly, slowly. And feel the awareness of the breath entering your body, moving down to the middle of your stomach. The place inside you, at the middle of your stomach, is where those viruses cannot control the mind. If you are able to come back via your breath and feel every time your breath is arriving and touching an empty space in your stomach, feel the softness like a bird's feather touching a calm surface of water without disturbing the water surface. Your mind will be purified. We do this few more times and feel the breath arriving and touching an empty space in the middle of our stomach, softly, gently, again and again. Our mind will absorb positive feeling that becomes positive energy. We let that absorption happen naturally. And once the minds feel very pure, very light, we can imagine that we are sharing this to people around us, to people in your place, no matter who they are. You want them to be happy. You want all of them to be free from sadness. And then you imagine that you are sharing this to people in different parts of the world. To those who are happy, those who are suffering, those whose life are in danger from natural disasters. May all of them be happy. May all of them be free from sadness. And allow the mind to expand and feel as if you're sharing with everyone in the whole world. Doesn't matter who they are, what they do, what country they're from, what belief they have. You are sharing this unconditionally. You want all of them to be happy. May all of them be free from sadness. May all of them feel the inner peace that you are sharing for a while. Feel as if your mind, your peace energy are expanding endlessly. And you are sharing with everyone in the whole world. Now we have come to an end of our meditation. You may breathe in and out a few times. Breathe in and out. Feel the environment, everyone and everything around you. Feel every part of the body. And once you feel that you are ready, you may softly and slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. I hope you feel relaxed, and at least today we did something great for ourselves and for our own world. So again, I'm not convincing you to believe in everything I'm saying today, but if it makes some sense, it means that the methods that we try to very hard to implement in order to solve the calamity that we have might not be solving from the cause. So everything happened for some reasons, and if we want to end the consequences, we have to stop the cause of happening. What if the causes of natural disasters is from our own mind, is from people's mind? We need to begin with ourselves. And once we begin with ourselves, we just reverse the direction of the causes so that we can influence role models in societies, and also we can create a large amount of people who practice inner peace in the mind. My master mentioned that the meditation or inner peace effect can be possible, but we need to have enough people to do it together. He suggests that the amount of people that will be sufficient is 1 million people. So I hope one day you and me and everyone watching at the moment, everyone who is the fan of my stories and meditation lovers from around the world, we will be able to successfully change the world with the effect of our meditation together. Okay, so I'm not sure if you have any questions. I don't see any questions, so maybe my explanation is pretty clear, right? If you have any questions, you can type in the comments box. You can send to me later on. I try to answer other questions. If the topics are interesting, we make a different video, a separated video for that. And if you feel that this video is going to be useful for your friends, for your families, your people that you care about, and those who are suffering from natural disasters, you can also share the video with them. At least everyone understands that the world is not ending. To give you some hope, the prophecy or the prediction that I shared with you earlier, this is the turn. The Buddha said that when things comes back to and hits the lowest point, it's going to become a shining hope of peace. So that prediction, even though the inscription from India talks about the middle of the Buddhist era, is not kind of academically accepted, because more or less it's like passed down verbally. But that one gives some hint about the new beginning, that when it hits the lowest bottom, it will bounce back to the light. And I hope that we are walking on the path to go back to the light, to go back to the long-lasting happiness together. Okay? So until next time, I'm happy to be with all of you today, and I hope at least if you can maintain your peace of mind, you will not be afraid of anything. Even there are natural disasters happening around the world, you're not going to be attracted to that, because your mind repels negative things and your mind attracts positive things. So with the power of attraction, no matter where you are, don't let your day be without inner peace, and your life will be safe. And when you are safe, you'll be more confident, you have no fear, and that's the happy life we've been searching for. Thank you and goodbye.